Two pair, ace, double queen.
Oh, lucky thing for me, I had 3 6s. Sorry.
Looks like you broke your losing streak.
Nice spot. I don't see what's so great about it. Whoa, hey, where's the fire, son? I'm a gambler. You're a gunfighter. The fact of the matter is, if I'd have tried to face you down, I mean, what chance would I have had? Absolute zero. None, whatever.
Was that fast?
Want to see it again?
Mel Gibson,
Damn thing won't stay in the holster. Whoop.
Jodie Foster,
A silly-looking creature's called Maverick, and my name is Annabelle Bransford. I'll be taking the stage.
So am I.
So am I.
James
You
Garner,
can relax and enjoy the journey now.
Maverick,
Don't worry, nothing to worry about. I got it all under control.
Yeah, well, I remember my first runaway stage.
a Richard Donner film.
Don't you think you should go out there and help him?
Well, I could do that, absolutely, but you know, after he's worked so hard, he might resent it.
With a little luck, Maverick will be here.
Dealer's choice? Okay, 5 card stud. No, I think I prefer draw. You gotta learn to loosen up, kid. Have some fun. This is poker.
Oh, I'm on the screen.
We're on screen. Hello,
Whoa.
everyone. Well, once again, Outcast. So I should say, Lance is joining me from the Outcasts Creative.
one of the 100 or so of the Outcast Creative, but the guy who mainly runs the YouTube channel.
Which, hey, we love, much respect. He happens to be a pretty big fan of Maverick. But before we get into anything to do with this movie, I have to address something. Father Miller.
Oh, but believe it or not, I've never seen Maverick, but surely he's talking about Top Gun Maverick. And he's probably the only person who hasn't seen it, if that's the case.
Tragically, hilariously enough, you have to type in Maverick 1994 now to get this Maverick, because when you just type in Maverick, you get Top Gun Maverick, which I'm not genuinely upset about. This film, and Lance, you can, I'm sure, back me up on this. A lot of time when people they're like, what's your favorite Western comedy that isn't Blazing Saddles? And even though this isn't technically everybody wants to say like Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights with oh my god, it's Jackie Chan, but who's
Jackie Chan and
Blondie Boy,
the guy who nearly committed suicide at one point and didn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was quite public about it. Thankfully he didn't, and I'm really glad he didn't.
Yes, I'm
he
glad
seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
From Meet the Parents, the guy from Meet the Parents, and he was in Armageddon.
Thank you, Brandon, the anime guy. Yes.
Owen Wilson. Thank you.
Yeah. So everybody's always like, everybody's like, yeah. So they always think you're gonna say that, or like Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
That's a terrible film.
Hey, you know what? It's one of my guilty pleasures. I'm not gonna lie. It's a horrible film. But I actually kind of like that. Is it bad that the part that I actually like is a sci-fi part out of the West? Like, it's supposed to be a Western.
That's the part that I like. You're talking about the metal crab monster thing. Yeah, I like that.
So, it just, oh man. Yes, we do need a Maverick Top Gun crossover Soul Assassin. I'm here for it. But this movie,
I can't see the chat. Let me get it.
This movie is, it's so witty and it's so much fun. And it's like Mel Gibson looks like he's having the time of his life in this movie. Like, for real, having the time of his life in this movie. And Jodie Foster is just freaking breathtaking. Like, I absolutely 1,000,000,000,000% adore Jodie Foster.
Could she have turned you gay in this film? Would you have?
She would have made me curious. I'll say that much. She would have made me curious.
She does look. She completely fits the period. Her look, her hair.
Does.
Yeah.
She truly does. And the thing too is when people talk about Jodie Foster's best roles, I mean, unequivocally, Silence of the Lambs comes up, and as it should. It's it is an exceptional piece of work, but I really think Maverick showed showed off her range. I really
you could
do.
tell you could tell she was having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You could tell the cast all got on this film. I think we said that on our last stream. I mean, me working in the industry, I can always tell when actors get on. There's just something about their energy and their scenes, and that was with this film. It was really apparent. Everyone had a good laugh, you know.
Yes, and the film. So guys, I am incredibly excited to talk about this film, and apparently Mr. Lance here has actually got to have a chat with James Garner's daughter.
I did.
So
was that? I think when you mentioned that, you said, "Yeah, do you want to come on?" I was like, "Oh."
Well, because I was started because I don't normally check my Twitter right before I go on, but I had messaged somebody something, and I was going to see if they had responded, because it has to do with the Lord of the Rings video that I am working on.
When you do a chat stream about Amazon's Lord of the Rings, you've got to have me on.
We will.
You've got to have me on. There's a lot I want to say about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially the new trailer.
To give you guys sort of a sneak peek, I kind of talked about it on Twitter, but I know not everybody has Twitter, and I'm here I completely understand that. Absolutely 1,000 million billion %. And oh no, see, this is an actual Lord of the Rings video the one that I'm talking about is an actual Lord of the Rings video. Trop is Amazon. So here, I'm going to put it in the chat. This is how I refer to Amazon's nonsense. I just call it Amazon Trop, like an Amazon trap. But it's no, that I'm actually waiting for a couple people to hear back from. So I also kind of talked about this one on Twitter a little bit, but
Father Miller, right?
What got me really fired up was the vanity where people were commenting on not Galadriel's chainmail, making it they're like, I love that it looks like it's torn, and I'm like, what?
It looks like it's fresh off the rack from Marks and Spencer's is what it looks like.
I know. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I love that it has this lived in look. And I'm like, did you watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Did you actually watch that trilogy at all? Did you? And then it dawned on me. I think those people think that Aragorn and Legolas is an elf, so we kind of have. Oh my God, that's the other thing they did completely wrong. I can't. Oh, so many videos, so much rant. And we normally don't get into that on Nostalgic Nirvana, but basically I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of people who are experts or master craftsmen in regards to swordsmanship, armorers, stuff like that. I know loads of people that do that stuff. I could put you in touch with some of them if you want. Oh, that'd be helpful, because basically what this is going to do, while I am not by any means considered a blacksmith or a silversmith or anything like that, because of my military background, I do understand basic maintenance of your equipment and gear and weaponry. You can't just put your sword in its scabbard and walk through swamps and deserts and jungles and never take it out of the scabbard and expect it to be okay. The scabbard will protect it from a majority of damage and stuff like that, but you still need to take it out. You need to sharpen it. You need to oil it. You need to make sure that the scabbard doesn't have anything inside of it that's gonna, damage your blade. Just basic weaponry care. And then the same thing when it comes to your armor. The comment had been I love that there's broken chainmail links in her armor. And I was literally do you understand what that means? That means that she has a weakness to be exploited. Chainmail serves a purpose. I think that these people do not understand the fundamental function of armor and what chainmail does, what its purpose is, what it's there for. Guys,
that's where the phrase "that's the chink in the armor" comes from.
Exactly.
You know that, right?
And so it's
I'm just going to improve my lighting, by the way. I look like a fucking ghost right now.
Make you look fine.
Let me just go. You carry on.
Well, so as I'm sure most people understand, we don't we no longer wear chainmail, really. Like that's not a thing anymore per se. You can still like get chainmail and such, but we have these things. Our armor now, like we've got flak jackets, and what goes inside those flak jackets is called, here it is. I'll just pop this up for everybody's reference. Sorry to like bring up my own twit twat. I know this is not Maverick, guys, but like I'm just bear with me here. So this is what the tweet was. The costumes I saw in London looked lived in. Frayed cloaks, links missing from chainmail armor, that kind of thing. This won't be the catalog model pristine white cloaks we sometimes saw in Wheel of Time. And then they do the lotter up, right? First of all, the white cloaks in Wheel of Time are pristine and white for a reason. Like the whole reason they're called white cloaks is because of the system of beliefs that they hold in Wheel of Time. If y'all have not read Wheel of Time, strongly recommend you go read the books. Don't waste your time with the Amazon show. It's a travesty. I still have like 6 videos on that I'm working on. I need to like quit my job, I swear. Because it takes too much time from the stuff I care about. But my response to that was, do you understand what missing links from chainmail armor means for the person wearing it? It is death or serious injury. Like you're going to lose a limb. A sappy plate is what goes inside of a flak jacket. And that is what prevents penetration through the armor. That's like basically if you were to knock on it, it almost sounds ceramic. Is the best way. It's like a ceramic plate. That's what it sounds like. But if one of those is cracked, it no longer, it does not serve its function, its purpose. If it is cracked, penetration from rounds can and will happen. Shrapnel can and will happen. Like it is meant to protect you for like your most vital organs. So then I was like, there's no way that people are this unaware of personal armor maintenance. And like, I literally was like, I'm going to have to make a vid on this because this is basic personal armor. If you've read the Lord of the Rings books, you know for a fact, thanks Legion, I don't plan on actually quitting. But if you've actually read them, you know that Aragorn repairs his own chainmail. The reason that when Aragorn got done with the battle and they're like his chainmail would be damaged, his armor would be damaged, but then he would either give it to the smiths or he would repair it himself, right? So that it could be functional, so that he could utilize it. Like all, and I do mean all, soldiers, whether you were an archer, freaking a pikeman, cavalry, a grunt, infantry, whatever you may be, you knew how to do basic and sometimes intense repairs of your weaponry and your armor. You also knew basic like first aid. Like, hey, if that guy is bleeding, try to stop the bleeding with like cloth or something. Sanitation wasn't a huge thing back in that day. So like you'd usually get like a filthy rag, but they were like they wanted to staunch the bleeding. That's why a lot of them would just heat their blades and then stick it right on the wound. Yeah, I don't know. You got anything to add to that, Lance?
Well, you're the military lady, and I'm going to say that armor, military or otherwise, is not my area of speciality, although I am a big history buff. But going into the minutiae of different damage caused by chinks in armor, I'm going to take your word for it, and I'm sure it's true. We don't want to jump topics too much on Lord of the Rings, but I'm not. I've got a lot of issues with the trailer. Lenny Henry, who's the black actor in the trailer, by the way, I've met him. I've seen him perform on stage, and he's a phenomenal actor. He's really good. Mm-hmm. So I'm prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt that he might bring something. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that there's black actors in. I don't know the context of his character or where he's from in the universe. So he may bring something special. He might surprise people, but there's a lot. The rest of the trailer just all looks like it was shot in the studio. Where's the real trees? Where's the real water?
Yeah.
Where are the shots of people in nature, actual nature?
Yep.
That for me is a massive thing that's missing. It just all looks so artificial. Jackson's world looked real. Yes, there was special effects, but when you needed them, you know,
they were minimal.
Yeah.
Like they used miniatures and they used.
I love the miniature work.
Yes. And if you ever look at it, like if you guys ever get the extended edition with the special features and stuff like that, and you get to see what like Weta did, like the Weta workshop and just how involved everybody was, it's truly something spectacular. But now that we have derailed the first 13 minutes to talk about Drop and
you and me going off on a tangent. Never.
I know.
Really?
Who'd have thought?
I know.
But,
what a surprise.
It is Lord of the Rings. So yeah, guys, just know that I am working on stuff. But the reason for that, I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of subject matter experts. Like I am knowledgeable in the area, but there's certain people out there. Like I want to make sure that I have my facts correct and that I'm within the proper timeline and stuff like that. And quite frankly, some of the people that I would normally go to have sort of taken the woke pill, and they're like, well, yes, but because this is fantasy, it doesn't really have to adhere to those same rules. And I'm like, no, that's not what that means. But it is the way that it is. Hello, American Comics Company. How are you? And so, yes, we're going to say hello to the chat. Raj Williams. Hello. Faye. How you doing, beautiful? Soul Assassin. Charlie Stevenson. Yeah, exactly, Charlie.
Legatus Legionaris. My man from the world of Spartacus, as I like to call him.
Dan Blackroyd is here. Hello, Dan. Cal G. So good to see all of you. And we've already said hi to Father Christopher Miller and, of course, Brandon, the anime guy. Chrysanth, how are you doing? How's it going? So good to see you. I'm so happy that you're all here. I absolutely... Jordan Horst, hey, what's going on? I'm glad you're here. I appreciate every single one of you so much for being here. Means the world.
And I thank you in advance for putting up with my British presence on your American stream. I hope it does not spoil your enjoyment.
Oh man, but this is such an American movie, isn't it? And so, I love that you love it.
I have just tagged James Garner's daughter in this stream.
Aw.
So I don't know. She won't come on or anything. She's very camera shy. I tried to get her on my channel for an interview, and she thanked me for the offer, but she says she's always kept out of the limelight, and she likes that. But she loves talking about her dad, and I've had a number of back and forth messages with her about why I liked her father, what I first saw him in, and I was a big fan of the Rockford Files, and all that stuff. So yeah, I've just dropped that. There we go. So her name is Gigi Garner.
Gigi. Oh, that's sweet.
Gigi. Yeah, G-I-G-I.
I remember my mom, the first time I ever saw this was my grandpa. And I was...
You're talking about the 94 movie?
Yeah, the 94 movie. The first
do you want to, before you dive in there, do you want to maybe just talk about the origins of where it came from? Because Maverick was a TV series with James Garner and Roger Moore. Should we mention that?
We definitely can. I didn't.
Or am I derailing things again?
I didn't know.
Did you not know that?
I didn't know that was.
This is why you have me on the stream. You see?
Yeah, like I was unaware that this is based off of that. I thought that this or was inspired by.
You didn't know that?
I didn't, because I legitimately thought that this was like, because as you know, like Mel Gibson is a huge history buff. He's, Richard Donner. Like this is another Richard. I swear to God, I think 80% of the films I cover are Richard Donner films.
Well, there's the Wikipedia link for anyone else in chat who isn't aware, but it started off as a television series in 1957 with James Garner as the lead playing Maverick. Now that's why James Garner is in the Mel Gibson version, and for the older generation. And listen, I didn't grow up on this show. In fact, I think it was off TV but I caught some repeats of it. Some of the latest seasons, I caught some repeats. But Roger Moore was also in it, which is what made it good. And there was a number of spin-off shows. I think there was about 5 spin-off shows before the 94 movie. There was one in 78, one in 79, one in 81, and one in 91. So it's a character that's embedded in the television Western series and American television Western sort of ethos history quite firmly before the 94 movie came along. And I think that's one of the reasons they banked on it being a success, because it was a very, very popular character.
I mean, that makes sense. I know, I know that when I saw this, so this is, y'all are going to get, everybody's about to get mad, probably. So,
why? What are you going to say?
Well, I was like 5 or 6 when I saw this movie. And
yeah, I was older.
Here's just a bit. Here's the thing. My granddaddy loves Westerns, right? My mom likes them, but not as much as my grandpa and like my uncles and my great uncles. So, you know, it was like, okay, well, you know, Westerns are for old people. Westerns are boring. Westerns are just about cowboys shooting Mexicans or Indians, and they have to like rob a bank or they have to save a train, right? Like I was like, that's boring. And then like my grandpa, and I don't even know where I picked that up. Probably because I was talking about my grandpa and like how he liked Westerns and stuff like that. And someone probably was like, Westerns are boring. And because I'm a little kid, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's not cool to like Westerns, so Westerns are boring. And my grandpa was like, is that a fact? Well, I was already in love, like, with Mel Gibson at this point in time. Like,
of course you were, like every other woman on the planet.
Like I'm 5 or 6 and in love with Mel Gibson. And he's like, okay. So this was the first Western that I ever watched, and I was hooked from there on in. Westerns happen to be my favorite genre. Like, even more
right.
so.
So you're big into
fantasy.
Westerns. You're big into
Yes.
Westerns now. Oh, thank God for that.
I love Westerns. And so this was like this, I guess, my gateway Western, I guess, is what Maverick was. So it holds an exceptionally special place in my heart, especially because it's something that like my grandpa and I can bond over too. Because I'll say something. He's like, yeah, I remember that time, because he'd be like, hey, you should do it this way. And I'm like, yeah, Grandpa, I appreciate it. I was like, I think I'm going to try it this way. And then he'll always he'll be like, remember that time that you thought you weren't going to like Westerns? And then we did it my way. And it turns out that I was right. He goes, this is about to be another one of those situations. And so then I inevitably end up doing it his way. And guess what? He was right.
Is your grandfather still around? He's still alive?
He is. He's 90.
Oh man, you got to get him on a stream with me, and as I can talk to Westerns, I talk to him about Westerns all day long. We'll do
you'd probably have better luck right now.
Grandpa Gravesmaster. That's got a good ring. Got a good ring to it.
He would talk to you most definitely about. Oh no! What's that? It was a television show, not car. Oh my God.
High Chaparral.
No, is it Johnny? Who's Carson? Something Carson.
Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson show. There was
Johnny. Yeah, the Johnny Carson show.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a Western, but
no,
it's
that's
of
what
that
I'm saying.
time.
He loves Westerns, but right now, like, my mom has gotten him for his 90th birthday, got him the complete collection of the Johnny Carson show, which he's not seen since it was on television. And so he's currently going through all of the Johnny Carson episodes and enjoying himself.
Who would have thought such a thing was available? I mean, I'd actually like to go back and watch all 124 episodes of the original Maverick show.
I'm about to get eBay and
I don't know if I'll find out if they've been released, but I'm not sure if they have, but now I know Roger Moore's in it as well. I'd really like to see it. You know?
For sure. No, I will probably most definitely. It's.
I'm having a read.
See. Yeah.
I'm having a read now.
I'm texting my mom. I'm like, is it the Johnny Carson show that you got, Grandpa? Yes. There's no complete collection of Carson from 66 to 93. Well, I'm telling you,
Amazon's available. It's available on Amazon, all 5 seasons.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Carson you're talking about, Father Miller, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, but what my granddad does is he says that he's always like, anything more than 2 episodes a night is too much. He's like, I don't understand these young folk who can just sit there and watch 6 or 7 episodes and just waste their life. Yeah, no, my granddaddy can't. He's 90 and does not sit still. Like, he's yeah.
I'm just typing
like
into
there's
chat.
Too much to do to sit that long. So yeah, he is a big fan of Johnny Carson right now. But
so have you seen Silverado?
Yes.
Because now, right, that's my favorite Western. And one of my missions in life is to go to that ranch where they shot that, which is also the same set when they filmed Tombstone. I think, do you know what? I think this came up at the end of our last stream, and
it did come up at the end.
Didn't you and I talk about doing a secret mission to like break in?
Yes.
Surely you've got the required military skill, and I've got the British nonsense. So
absolutely,
together we could achieve this.
We'll get caught and thrown in prison, and it'll be totally worth it. We'll stream it the whole time.
Yeah,
that's right. We're gonna stream it the whole time, and everybody is gonna watch us get arrested. But it's gonna be totally worth it.
There's got to be somebody that could get us because I know it's permanently shut at the moment. I don't know if that's to do with COVID or Alec Baldwin. Who knows? But at the minute it is closed.
Yeah.
But they've shot so many of my favorite Westerns there, and they gradually added bits to the town over time. But Silverado, wasn't my gateway Western, but it was my gateway Western when I was old enough to appreciate films, to then go back in and examine all the great Westerns with the adult eyes. And I went to see it for my birthday, Silverado, as it happens.
Nice.
I think it was my 16th or something. And it was the first time I'd seen a film on a really big screen in the Odeon, Leicester Square, proper surround sound. It was a 70mm print, so it was massive. You know, you had to look from left to right to see the whole picture, you know?
Yeah.
And those gunshots in the opening scene, they like snap through the roof, the bullet would fly across your head and you'd hear it over there. And
oh, that's awesome.
I'd love to see that at the cinema again. I might have to do that for my birthday sometime. We shall see.
Yes.
But, yeah. I mean, you'll have to fly over and come. It'll only be about $5,000 a flight by then.
Hey, you know what? It's totally fine. But
so
no, Westerns. I love them. I think we talked at during our last stream. We talked about how Terrence Hill is my favorite, but
the guy who did I've been trying to get hold of copies of those films.
Yeah, the Trinity series.
The Trinity. They are available, but they're quite expensive.
They are, yes. They're good though. I know. So, like, my mom. It took me a minute to figure out that, like, the movies that I was watching were not recently made. I know that's gonna sound weird. But the reason I say that is because, like, I would watch, like, Maverick, and I would be like, oh my gosh, like, I want to go meet them. I want to go see them, right? And she's like, well, you know, baby, like, they're doing different things now. And I was like, why? And I'm trying to think, was it A Job for Jimmy Valentine, maybe? With Ronald Reagan in it?
I'm gonna have to take the fifth on this one, I'm afraid.
I can't remember what it is, but I saw a Ronald Reagan Western, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to.
I think I went out of my way to avoid Ronald Reagan Westerns. Reagan.
Right, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, no, I saw. Oh God, I think it was a job for Jimmy Valentine, but I could be 1,000% incorrect. But basically, I was like, I would really love to meet him and get his autograph because it didn't click that this was President Ronald Reagan, who was no longer with us. And my mom's like, honey, he's dead. And I'm like, but he's right there. You know what I mean? It was like, it took a minute, basically, for me to realize.
You were like a tiny kid when Ronald Reagan died.
Yeah, that's it.
So how old are you? Like 19 or something? I better not be on with an infant.
I am old enough to have 4 children.
You've got 4 kids?
Yep.
I can hear one of them in the background, the feathered kind.
That's the birdie.
Damn, 4 kids. So now I feel old. No, I haven't got any. So
You've not got any?
I haven't, and I really regret it. It's a massive source of sadness for me at the moment, actually. So we could do a whole other stream about that, but I don't think people would want to watch it. But
we could. We never know. I guess we'll find out. And you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
We can talk about parenthood or whatever, and do it and tie it in with that the movie Parenthood. No, it's not that I mind talking about it. It's just it's a really big source of regret. I've just hit 50. Well, I'm going to be 51 in a few weeks, and when I'm with my friends' kids, I absolutely love them. I can't get enough of them. Uncle Lance, and all this. And it's because I'm always bringing them presents and things. And now I'm realizing, oh shit, this is what I'm missing out on. All this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I know bringing up kids isn't easy, and in some ways I get to do the fun stuff as Uncle Lance. But I'm definitely regretting it big time now. And just with the time it was supposed to happen, a lot went wrong in my life, and I could barely look after myself, let alone raise a kid. So it's probably so but but anyway, back to Maverick. Back to Maverick.
Okay. So like this movie is, like I said, it's what turned me on to westerns. The cast is the chemistry. Oh my god, this scene. Guys, it's so funny. It would not be made as with many of the films that we've covered on Nostalgic Nirvana.
Oh yeah, because Graham Greene did a cameo in it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. This film would not be made today at all.
No, I don't. Well, certainly not those scenes.
No, at all. Oh, Danny! When he popped up, it made my heart happy. It's just. I love Danny Glover.
Yeah, that was a really fun Lethal Weapon, and they did that double take when they looked at each other.
Yeah, I'm like, do I know you? Do I know you? Right. It's just the thing too is for as outrageous and funny and bombastic as this movie can be, there's also perfect moments of subtlety. There's just enough. There's the wit is there, the subtlety is there. It's just absolutely perfectly executed. And again, but guys, this is a Richard Donner film.
Yeah, we're both big Richard Donner fans. By the way, did you watch my stream the other night when I had the second unit director from Superman 1 and 2 who worked with Richard Donner? I was interviewing him. And YouTube fucking blocked it. They blocked it now.
I tried to. I was going to catch it on the replay because
they blocked it because we showed the Rambo 3 trailer because he directed Rambo 3, and they blocked it because of that. And and I appealed it, and then they agreed, and then they blocked it again.
Stupid.
So, but he told me a lot of really. I mean, listen, we'll talk about it off air. But he told me a lot of really cool Richard Donner stories that you're just going to love to hear.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
I asked all those questions specifically thinking of you. I was actually trying to see if you remember. I invited you to come on the stream. Remember, but you couldn't do it at that time because you went back from work.
I had to work.
But yeah. I've got to record it again, so I'm going to try and get him on a different time. And I mean, I'll try and see if I can get him on a Sunday. And then if he's on a Sunday, you can come on.
Okay.
And that'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, it would. And I will attempt to maintain composure and maturity.
Well, failing that, we'll just talk about. I'm going to do a Black Hawk Down stream, so you'll come on my channel and we'll talk about that.
There you go.
Yeah. And Graham Greene is still alive. I'm pleased to report. I just checked.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually
because there's a few.
He's been around a long time.
He has, but I mean, one of the great things about the 1994 movie is the fantastic supporting cast. You've got Alfred Molina from the Spider-Man films, and he's still going strong. You've got Jeffrey Lewis, who I think is still around. Dan Hedaya, who's again another fantastic people. And then they've got loads of old Western stars in it, like Denver Pyle. So sort of names like that, but then Jimmy Coburn, of course, who's passed away, and Art LaFleur, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy Kahn tonight.
My grandpa pointed out Denver because he's the gambler on the riverboat. My grandpa pointed him out.
Yeah, and he was in the original Alamo movie with John Wayne. He plays like his second or third in command with he's got one of the raccoon hats, you know. And there you go, James Garner's fun fact. Oh, you put it up just as I saw it. Did a maneuver called the Rockford.
I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that's because of him. That's so cool. See, like, these people actually did something with their careers, with their lives. They left a mark.
Yeah, I forgot Denver Pyle was Uncle Jesse and the Dukes of Hazzard. Them Dukes. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't, you know, you were a baby when that came out.
But I have them on DVD.
Oh, you've seen them all? Mm-hmm. I don't think you can play that on the telly now because of the Confederate flag on the car.
Mm-hmm. Generally, my mom was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan at all of the Dukes of Hazzard movie that came out in like 2013 or whatever.
No, I wasn't either. The one thing I loved about the Dukes of Hazzard was every episode, you could always guarantee that there were some roadworks somewhere in the county. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, you know, there'd be that convenient pile of dirt for them to launch their car over and travel 50 feet through the air. And that was a requirement so that, you know, there's got to be some roadworks. Quick, find them. Then we can avoid, what's his name? Was it P. Coltrane or Roscoe P. Coltrane? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did have really good chemistry. That was one of the reasons this film worked was the chemistry between the actors, all the actors was really good.
And I think, you know, I don't know how to word this. For as much as Westerns were kind of like, they weren't dead, but they were definitely, they were sort of not to the extent that the MCU is at right now, where it's just, you know, they're just churning out content and making them longer and trying to like hook you on the next one and the next one and the next one.
Right.
So it wasn't quite to that extent, but definitely Westerns were not the same caliber in the 90s.
There wasn't many Westerns in the 90s. There was a couple. I think the second Young Guns might have come out in, like, Young Guns 2 maybe came out in 90 or 91. Because Young Guns, I think, was 88. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think the second Young Guns movie was, but they were flogging a dead horse on that one. It should have only ever been
I don't think anybody really liked it.
Yeah, it should have only ever been one film. And there was the Rangers one with the Dawson Creek guy. When was that? Was that early 2000s? Or
that had to be early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of, I mean, if I could get them from next door, I've got a DVD case and the section with Westerns in it's about this thick. You know, it's I've got a lot of Westerns.
I just know that they started to slip in caliber in regards to just story, and like they started to take themselves way too seriously.
Well, they try to modernize them a bit as well. There was a few Westerns that came out later that weren't very authentic in terms of like the tone and the content. And listen, I mean, one of the best recent westerns, in my opinion, is The Hateful Eight by Quentin Tarantino. I think that's an absolutely superb film. It is a stage play set in a house, but it's still a fantastic movie. And actually, Trevor Angelo has mentioned Tombstone. That came out, I think, in about 94. And that's a really...
That is,
92, 93. That's a really good movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's... You get a Tombstone and you get a Maverick, but then you get a Young Guns too. Like, that's the majority of Westerns that were coming out. The few that did weren't Tombstone.
No, I've got the soundtrack to Tombstone on CD next door, and I've got the soundtrack to Silverado on vinyl. Yeah, both great scores. Do you know, like, talking about cast cameos, so I don't know, because you're the biggest Richard Donner fan on the planet, even more so than me. You do know that Richard Donner was one of the dealers at the table in one of the scenes. Yeah. Yes. And then you've also got Margot Kidder from the Superman movies. She's got a tiny cameo. Yeah, on the on the boat. And there's a couple of other old school Western actors, and Linda Hunt from Silverado. She's in there as well.
Richard Donner did what Richard Donner does, and he put love and passion and care into this movie, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
Do you own the Blu-ray?
I have 2 DVDs and 2 VHSs. I do not own the Blu-ray.
No, I don't own the Blu-ray. And it sounds like you just smashed up your DVDs there. But I'll tell you another cameo. Doug McClure is in it, who was like the ultimate B-movie guy who's parodied in the Simpsons. Somebody in chat will know the name of the character in the Simpsons. He's always turning up in B films, and Doug McClure was in like all the Land That Time Forgot movies, the dinosaur kind of adventure films from the 70s that the special effects look terrible in them now. But he's in there. He's one of the card sharks. Troy McClure, thank you, Boosh McFadden. Troy McClure. Have I lost you, lady? Are you still there?
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
I thought something fell over. That's all right. I filled in with my waffle while you were.
Well, poor little ones. Stuff is bound to. They test gravity to make sure it still works quite frequently. I'll just put it that way.
Just give me an emergency waffle signal, and I'll just. If that happens again, I'll waffle on. Phil Hartman, who did the voice for him, and that was a tragic story because I think his wife shot him or something like that happened. But yeah, he was a great voice actor, great actor. Full stop.
That's tragic. Oh my god.
Yeah, Google that, man. Phil Hartman is. I think they had a tumultuous relationship, and I might have it wrong, but I think he came home from work and she shot him.
Yikes.
And yeah, I know, man. Well, Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it is. You got to be. Relationships have got. There's not a good track record of relationships surviving in Hollywood. I think Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn have got to have one of the best scores.
Probably.
And they're very nice people too. So
yeah. So just to get some interesting facts, because Tombstone was 93 and Maverick was 94.
There we go.
I wanted to triple check this to make sure that it was correct, but Tombstone, I think it's because, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
I know everything about Tombstone, everything behind what happened on the shoot, so go for it.
Well, from my understanding, I don't know if it was the director or if it was, so as we all know, there is a echelon in Hollywood, but Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze sort of existed outside of that echelon. That's probably why he and Goldie Hawn are that exception to the rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, lots of reasons for that. Not to mention True Love and Lack of ego. Kurt Russell on a
Yes.
set, he has no ego on the set. He's always there for everyone's close-ups. I've had 3 actor friends that have worked with him. They've all told me the same thing. He's like, I'm on $75,000 a day. Of course, I'm going to be here for your close-up. I'm not going to go back to my trailer.
That's so awesome. Yeah,
I'd love to work with him. Love to.
Right? That'd be amazing. But if I remember correctly, it's because of Tombstone that Maverick was able to get an international release, but because Kurt Russell basically, I don't know how true this is or not. I know that Patrick Swayze took a child actor under his wing, and I know Kurt Russell took a child actor like under his wing, and they were like this, like, nah, like, I've got this kid, nobody else gets to deal with him or handle him or anything like that. Got him a new like agent or whatever.
Yeah, or the rest of it, you know.
Yeah, or the rest of it. But we're not going to get into that here. But my understanding is that they refused to give Tombstone an international release because they were like, it won't have legs, it won't be interesting to those individuals, and so.
Okay, keep going.
Like that was the justification that they used. That's what they said.
The justification for what? Sorry.
For not giving it an international box office release with the domestic release. Because Tombstone didn't go international right away. As far as I know.
I'll be able to tell you the exact date that it was released in the UK. I know that I saw it either the week before or the week after Jurassic Park. So let me just check on the UK release date of Jurassic Park and I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, all I know is that there was a kerfuffle. And so
I know all about the kerfuffle.
Yeah. So they were like, nah, we're not going to give you that international release right now. And so it didn't count. Like, again, this is me getting like tertiary knowledge handed down to me. But even if you look at the numbers, only has the domestic box office for Tombstone. And from my understanding, that's because they didn't count the international release, right? So when you adjust for inflation, it made 125, 945, 255 in just the domestic box office, which, like, I still feel is kind of low. It made 56 million domestically in 93, which is insane. I feel like this, especially with modern inflation, I'm pretty sure that number is wrong, like desperately wrong. But when you
I don't know if that includes. Does that include DVD and VHS? Still would have been around then.
I think it's just box office, and another reason why I think that is off is because
it says 73. I've got 73.2 million here on another source.
So this is Maverick's box office numbers, and so they made $183,015,237. But when you adjust for inflation, it says they made $228,421,261. That also seems low when you adjust for inflation. But I digress.
And the budget of Tombstone was 25 million.
Yeah.
So it made back its budget plus a bit.
Plus extra.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that Kurt Russell had to come in and save Tombstone. Like,
well, yeah. What happened was, I mean, I can tell you the story because I know somebody, George P. Cosmatos, who was a Greek director, bit of a tyrant, known for mainly for Rambo 2 was the other sort of big movie that he'd done. And I had another friend who worked with him right before Tombstone on a film called Leviathan, if anybody saw that.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Leviathan is like the low budget Abyss movie.
Yes, it is.
There were three sort of under the sea monster movies that came out within a year of each other. One of them was Deep Star 6, which was Roger Corman film, which actually is a surprisingly good little movie. Then you had Leviathan, and then you had The Abyss, which until the director's cut of The Abyss came out wasn't very good. The director's cut of The Abyss is a totally different film. And Leviathan, the underwater unit director of Leviathan was a guy called Mike Valentine. And Mike Valentine did a talk on that film when it had a preview screening at the sort of in London Film Institute, or whatever it was then. So I went along to that, and he told us all the on-set stories about George P. Cosmatos, and apparently George's line to every other crew member every 10 minutes of the day was, "What are you doing? You are ruining my movie," like this. So, and then by the time he did Tombstone, he had a massive drinking problem, and he would turn up to the set drunk, or not really kind of fully conversant, and all the crew, they absolutely hated him. But they loved Kurt Russell because Kurt Russell would never shout at anybody on set. He would never lose his cool, and Kurt Russell could rein the other actors in. So Kurt Russell was super popular. So any days that George was late, Kurt Russell, being the professional, would be like, "Well, come on, we got to get on with this," and he would just take over and start doing the shots. And I don't know what proportion of the movie he did. There's different stories about that, and Kurt's probably too much of a gentleman to say. But yeah, he did. I think he was heavily involved in the editing process as well, because you can see one of the things that maybe lets the film down a little bit is the last 20 minutes. When you watch it, there's a lot of montage scenes of, them chasing after people and people getting shot and falling off horses and stuff. You can tell that's right. What footage have we got left? What can we put together with a voiceover or some music that's going to work for another scene? Because we don't have what happens now. Because I think there was a couple of scenes that didn't get shot, and it all had to kind of get saved in the edit. But I mean, the thing that makes that film, in my opinion, I've got to say, is Val Kilmer's performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the scene with the cup, Johnny Ringo comes in and does the thing with it, and I mean that's brilliant, because you've got two really great actors, one of whom is playing the role with total conviction as a bad guy, and the other one who is doing the same thing but sending up the bad guy with total conviction. It's just brilliant. It's one of the funniest scenes in a film ever.
I'm sure you've seen Top Gun Maverick. Have you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody that isn't
chills when I was watching.
For anybody that is not aware, so yes, I'm your Huckleberry. Oh man, he did so good.
Yeah.
For anybody who is not aware, Val Kilmer legitimately has beaten throat cancer twice. He's in remission for the second time now. Yeah. So the scene, for any of you that have not seen Top Gun Maverick, I urge you to please go and see it. And what people don't seem to realize is the way they actually found out that he had throat cancer is because he started to have problems with his thyroid.
Right.
And so he gained a lot of weight. And this was before he found out that it was because of the throat cancer that was affecting his thyroid, right? Because so they thought, oh, well, it's a thyroid inflammation or it's a thyroid problem. So we're going to treat you for thyroid issues, right? And he was mocked relentlessly. So this is a picture of him that got mocked mercilessly because he had gained such a significant amount of weight. And this was a guy who had always been
I remember that.
Really in shape. Yeah, he'd always been in really good shape. He'd always been a lady killer. He'd always taken really good care of himself. Oh, Bush McFadden, okay, you have a good night. Mwah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just gonna pop that in the chat myself there. Cheers,
Thank
Bush.
you for coming, Bush.
Mighty Bush, as we say in the UK.
Mighty Bush. But Val Kilmer has always sort of been that is kind of why you would cast him, because he had this really specific edge, this very he had a very masculine cut to him. And then when he started getting sick and he started gaining weight, he got mocked and belittled. And so he sort of kind of disappeared from the limelight. And then they found out, of course, that it was throat cancer. So
I mean,
go ahead.
That's one of the problems of being a Hollywood icon and a sex symbol, which he was. I mean, let's face it, everybody had a crush on him after Willow.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I know that was before your time, but
no, I love Willow.
I know, he did Top Gun, and so he established his gay following in Top Gun, and then he did Willow, and he got his straight following, and and a number of other bits and pieces.
I loved him in Saints.
and that that's not a very good movie, but he's good in it. He's good in it, but it's not a great film.
He's good in it.
It had that's I mean, listen, that's another film that was a production hell nightmare that we could talk about for another hour. But the problem is the perception of us minions. Well, I mean, I know I work in the film industry, but the public at large is that these people are going to stay young, good looking forever somehow because they're these iconic things, and you kind of want them to, but they get old and sick like the rest of us. They're human beings like the rest of us. And well, I think one of the things that made Top Gun really special was you had this layer of Iceman, who was the really cool guy, top of his game, never made a mistake.
Yeah.
Now was this vulnerable human being, and underneath that, Val Kilmer, who was this big guy, he would probably admit for a big part of his career he had a pretty big ego at one point, and I think a certain part of his career he was a little bit difficult to work with, and I think he would probably admit that. I think he does in the documentary. Amazing documentary. And now he's this vulnerable sort of human being who's been really humbled by his illness, and you can see that in both the documentary and the performance in the film.
Yes,
and that's what makes it so special. And yes, I love Top Secret, and I like Real Genius as well. I saw both of those.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is good. Have you ever seen Mindhunters with him in it?
Is that, you mean the TV show?
So Mindhunters is, he's supposed to work. He works for the FBI. He trains profilers for serial killers. It's really, really good. If you've not seen Mindhunters, I'll have to do a
2004 movie.
Yes.
It's got only 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, but that can sometimes mean that's a hidden gem of a good movie.
It is actually a very good. It's
directed by Rennie Harlin of Die Hard 2. Yeah. Christian Slater. I do like Christian, actually. I think he's a good
Christian
actor.
Slater is in it. So the thing about Mindhunters is it was not at all what I was expecting when I went to watch it, because when you read the description of it, you're like, okay, so this is kind of like, I really don't want to ruin it, because like if I tell you, it's one of those movies where if I tell you a detail, it's going to give that much more away about the rest of the movie, and I really don't want to do that.
No, don't do that. You know what? We could do a live Lance reaction video when I come to Dallas.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming to Dallas pretty soon. Not specifically, by the way, to see Lady G. She just happens to live there, and I happen to be going there. But I am coming to Dallas in a few weeks.
I should cast you. That's a good idea.
You know what? When I am there, though, you got to come and meet me and Mark, who I'm coming to visit for a drink.
I absolutely will.
You and your fella and your 60 children and your 2 parrots and stuff.
Well, I would love to come and meet you, and I would love to watch you watch Mindhunters for the first time, because I think that it is underappreciated. But
if you can throw in a tour around the army base, then you got a deal. That'd be good.
It would have to be a Marine Corps one.
That'll do. Marine Corps even better. Marine Corps better, isn't it?
Yes,
I think Marine
of
Corps
course it is.
Well, yeah, so there we go. I'll be up for that.
But we would. I don't know if I can still do that or not. We'd have to see. But
yeah. So watch this space, people. Watch this space.
But
I want to watch it. I've you know what I do when I go on IMDb's now? When I read the reviews, I just read the headings. If I don't want a spoiler alert, I just read the headings of the reviews, and there's enough good headings on Mindhunters to make me want to watch it. So I'm going to add that to my list. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should do. Catherine de Hoylurg says we should do a stream on. You should do a stream on Val Kilmer, but I will be happy to be on there because I am a big Val Kilmer fan in an entirely friendship, heterosexual only way.
Hey, it's fine. I like him in a completely heterosexual way too.
Yeah, that's different for you.
I know. But the setup was just too perfect. I couldn't let it go. I agree with you, Angelo. Trey Valangelo. I'm always going to say your name wrong.
He was. You know what? He was good as Batman, and that's the one with Jim Carrey in, isn't it?
No, is that the one with Jim Carrey?
I
thought that was George Clooney. No, that's Jim Carrey.
No, it is. It is. It's because it's Batman 3.
Yeah, it's Jim Carrey and
you got
Tommy Lee Jones.
you got the two Tim Burton ones, and I met the director of Batman 3. It was Joel Schumacher. And,
yes, it was.
And I met Joel Schumacher. I've got a picture of me and him together somewhere. If I can get it up on screen, I'll show it to you. And he came to a London sort of like a screenwriting workshop thing that I was involved in running, and I got to talk to him about the Lost Boys and all of that. And I actually said to him, "Your Batman, I really liked it. I didn't like Batman 2, the second one with the Penguin. It felt very artificial."
The Batman Returns gets touted. So I think the reason Batman Returns gets such a high praise is because regardless how you feel about the movie itself, Michelle Pfeiffer did an excellent job.
Oh yeah.
And so she sort of stole the show for sure. But honestly, like even with Penguin's death, like the Batman Returns movie, I had multiple issues with it. I actually did really like Kilmer's Batman, but in my humble opinion, I think that he was the best Bruce Wayne until we got Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck is the best Bruce Wayne Batman combo we've had, and I think Val Kilmer is like right underneath him with that, because what people seem to forget when it comes to Batman is who he is. Bruce Wayne is actually his alter ego, and he has to, so that's the mask that he really wears. So he has to play Bruce Wayne perfectly so that nobody would suspect, because he is, I mean, common sense would dictate, okay, Batman has all these gadgets, he has all this reach, he has all this influence, clearly it's going to be someone with means. Well, you know, like it makes sense that it's Bruce Wayne. So he has to play the part of Bruce Wayne so flawlessly that nobody would suspect that he is Batman. And so it's and I think Val Kilmer did that the best. And I really did like Nicole Kidman as Vicky Vale. I thought she did a pretty good job.
The third film felt the world felt bigger. Soul Assassin just mentioned Batman and Robin. I'm glad we're staying on topic, by the way, with Maverick here. And Batman and Robin it felt tacky and cheap, and everything felt so plasticky and just naff. I didn't like that movie at all. But hey,
that's another one of my guilty pleasures. But it's solely because
there's a freeze coming.
Like I think Uma Thurman actually did really good.
I was just about to say that. The one thing I like about that movie is Uma Thurman.
Like, I honestly think that she did really good. And quite frankly, it was like a throwback to his, like, it was Arnie's one-liners, which I actually kind of really enjoyed the cheese from. But I didn't think George Clooney was a terrible Batman. I think he was given really poor, almost comedic stuff when he's trying to play like a serious role of Batman, and the script was like not there for him.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But Val Kilmer,
getting back to the Western genre.
Westerns, he actually talks about like different projects in his documentary and stuff like that. But from my understanding, he wasn't sure how he was going to get on with Kurt Russell. And then it turns out that they got on extremely well.
The other thing, I don't know if you know, with Tombstone, was that the actual project was supposed to be the directing debut of the screenwriter who wrote the script, Kevin Jarre, Jarre with a J, A-R-R-E. And Andrew Vanya, who was also the producer on Rambo 3, because I heard the whole story about how the director of Rambo 3 got fired, and my friend Peter Mack got called in to Stallone's trailer and like, right, you're taking over, you're directing the film.
You're taking over.
This guy that never done a feature film before, and they're like a week in, you know. But the same thing happened. It was his first job. It was quite a big job. He was quickly overwhelmed. Yeah, and there's a bit about it on Wikipedia. And yeah, he was a month into filming. He was replaced by George P. Cosmatos because they worked together before. And but I just think that there was a lot of issues there. It was, everybody saw it as Kevin's film, but what's not on Wikipedia is about all the drinking and various other things that went on. And there was a lot of, also they tried to change the script, and Kurt Russell was really fucked off, and so yeah, a few things like that went on.
Yeah, for a film that had a lot of behind the scenes drama,
turned out right in the end.
I'm amazed.
We should talk about Moustache as well. We can't not mention Moustache talking about Tombstone. By Moustache, I mean the one and only Sam Elliott. So he's Sam Elliott is the one man who's allowed to sexually arouse any heterosexual man. Because we all want to be Sam Elliott. We want to have Sam Elliott's voice.
I'm not even a man, and I want to be Sam Elliott.
There you go. So yeah, that's such a cool shot. Do you remember the whole thing about the movie? One of the things that's weird about the movie, and a friend of mine re-edited it, is that the extended scene of them walking to the OK Corral, which they didn't use, they cut it down to like 10 seconds or whatever, is the sequence that plays on the end credits. So when you watch the end credits of Tombstone, all through the sort of end credits, there's a really long extended sequence, and that's from it there, that shot of the four guys walking. Yeah. Watch it. When you watch it next time, you watch it, and it's there. And that sequence is not actually in the main film. It's the beginning of it's there and the end of it's there, but it literally lasts. It lasts like about a minute because they wanted this really big, long build-up of them walking right from one end of the town to the other to get there for that gunfight. And by the way, that gunfight is a piece of amazing choreography and editing. I love it. Showed it on so many of my movie quizzes, I think about 5 times.
Nice.
And you got Thomas Hayden Church in one of his first roles in that gunfight, who was later would co-star with Paul Giamatti in the that great double comedy thing. Somebody in chat will know it, where they go around the wine country in California. It's brilliant. But yeah, it's that extended sequence. One of my friends re-edited it into the movie so that it was where it was obviously supposed to be, and it actually works really well. I did just think thought it was too long.
Every time I look at this, I think Val Kilmer was the youngest of them. I think he was born in 59. I know Elliott was born in 44, but I can't remember if it was Kurt Russell that was born in 51 and Paxton was 55. But I think that's right. I think Paxton was the second youngest, and he died in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I mean Paxton died in 2017, but Paxton was born in 55.
Yeah, 55.
He was older than he looked because he always had that quite youthful sort of cheeky face.
Like, when you look at this, especially when you look at this lineup, you would not expect him to be the first of the bunch to pass away.
God, no. And I mean, Kilmer was born in 59. I mean, everybody would say Sam Elliott was the first one to go, but fortunately,
that man's immortal.
Fortunately, Sam Elliott is going to live until he's 250 because God has agreed that the world would not be the same without Sam Elliott's voice. Yeah. So,
we're not ready for that day ever. Never.
No one wants a remake of Tombstone proven.
God, no.
Trust me on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real story. So I guess other people can. I mean, what did you think of the Wyatt Earp movie? Because that went into production at the same time and it came out about a year later, 94. And I just got it on Blu-ray the other day and watched it for the first time since I saw it at the cinema. And it was a lot better than I remembered it.
Yeah.
I remember it being slow and boring but again, this is the older me who appreciates the films a bit more maturely.
So, did you ever see the television series of The Life and Legend? It's Legend in Life or Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp, and it's got Hugh O'Brien in it.
I don't know if I did.
It was a series.
I'm gonna say no because I don't think I did.
It was a limited run series, and I think that came out in the 60s. It might have been the 50s though.
Yeah, no, I definitely
But
wouldn't have
it's an
seen that.
it's an older series. It's in black and white. And I thought that they did actually I thought they did a really good job. The movie Wyatt Earp, I'm a huge Kevin Costner and a fan. I love Dennis Quaid, and of course, that's the same movie, right? Dennis Quaid, Kevin Costner, and Gene Hackman are in that one.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid plays the
He plays Doc Holliday in that
he
one.
plays Doc Holliday, and he does it well. It's probably a more faithful Doc Holliday than Kilmer's, which is, probably more Hollywood. But I mean, it doesn't matter. They're both great, but Kilmer's obviously wins out. It's just such fun.
Yeah, I think honestly what happened with that movie is it inevitably got compared to Tombstone.
Yeah, and
it
just didn't live up in any way, shape, or form.
Couldn't compete really. But it had Catherine O'Hara in it. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, she was in it. I mean, the good thing about Costner's Wyatt Earp film is it's aged really well, and it's got better over time, because now there's distance. You're not looking at the two films together.
Yeah, you're not comparing one to the other.
Yeah, this is the fun one and this is the dry one. It's just another take on the same story.
Yeah.
And I like it as a movie in its own right. Great production values, very authentic, lovely locations.
Yeah. Well, and you've got Bill Pullman is in it, but like I said, like I love Kevin Costner.
God, yeah, that's right. He plays the Bill Paxton part, doesn't he? Bill Pullman, I think.
I thought he was Masterson, but I could be wrong.
No, maybe you're right.
Who played Sheriff John? It was Sheriff Johnny or Sheriff Bayan. Who was
Sheriff
that?
Oh, no. See, I think you're right. Bill Pullman, I think, was the guy who gets shot.
Yeah, he
That's
is.
Right.
Yep.
You know why I didn't think that is because they're in Tombstone. That guy's fucking ancient. He's like,
he is.
And in Wyatt Earp, which I'm guessing is probably the more historically accurate of the two, they probably cast an actor that was more closer to the age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Hang on. Let me look it up really quick.
I'll tell you another interesting fact about Tombstone is that Wyatt Earp's relative is in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his great grandson plays Billy Claiborne. Well, that's a good comparison shot. Look at that.
Yeah. See, I think because there was so much, because it is the same story, but it's told from different. It's told from different perspective. It's almost impossible to not do a cross comparison of the two.
Well, this film basically tells that the middle 60 minutes of this movie is the entire movie of Tombstone. And there's 45 minutes set before the Tombstone timeline that they talk about that's in this film, and then there's another 45 minutes that's like after it. The gunfight in this is nowhere near as good as the Tombstone one.
And I think that also comes down to their gun handling was nowhere near as confident in Wyatt Earp. Like Kevin Costner clearly knows his way around a weapon.
Oh yeah.
Dennis Quaid was not as competent. You could tell he was a little bit more uncomfortable. And then, it's just the rest of them didn't really, like I said, they lacked the same sort of on-screen confidence, especially when it came to weapons. It wasn't quite there. And when you think about what these men are supposed to be allegedly capable of and be able to do, you don't want to see them. You don't really want to see them struggle to or be hesitant with weapons. You know what I mean?
No, indeed.
And I think especially because you had Maverick come out in 94 and Wyatt Earp came out in 94, and Maverick was just a lot more. It was more fun. Again, Mel Gibson knows his way around weapons. The competence was definitely there, and the chemistry of the cast. I think, that's something that we hit on a lot. But guys, it's just because talking to the chat, it's just because it's so important. Like I will forever hammer home on chemistry of the cast, because if you don't have if you do not have chemistry between your actors and actresses, you end up with Aquaman. You know what I mean?
True, yeah,
like,
sorry, funny comparison, but very true.
Like, yeah, or you end up with you end up in an Amy Adams and Henry Cavill situation where they said they felt more like brother and sister, and that literally translates to, like, you can tell that's how they feel because that's the attitude that translates to the screen. You know, and so I think the chemistry for this cast for Maverick was exceptional. And because it was a different story and because it was essentially a Western action comedy, it was able to avoid being directly compared to Tombstone, right?
Yeah.
But then when you look at Wyatt Earp, I mean, you have similar shots. It's the same story. You can't help but be like, okay, what can we do to make this be its own thing, even though it's the same story? But audiences were going to inevitably do it because, like, you can even tell here, like with this stance. I mean, they're like, you have the three of them are obviously much closer together, and he's got distance between. You know, Doc is off to the side, but he doesn't have like a gap. Meanwhile, over here, which this doesn't make as much sense, in my humble, guys, just understand this is just my humble opinion. The gap right there doesn't really make as much sense to me because
that's an interesting point, actually. I wonder why they did that.
Yeah, it's too much of a gap. Like, yes, Dennis Quaid is Doc Holliday, but it's like, because you see here where they're all still dressed in like it's like they tried too hard to make him separate.
You know what? Like, I have a feeling I know why they did that. Let me just Google something.
Oh, okay. You do that. I'm going to continue with my my factless foundation just from watching a crap ton of Westerns, right? Usually if you want to like tip a hand at something where a character is supposed to be standout or separate, you're going to modify their outfit slightly. That's why, like, if the good guys were in black, the bad guys were in brown, or if the good guys were white, the bad guys would be in black, or the hats would be different, or something like that. You know, these are typical Western tropes. You don't have to do that in Maverick because Maverick is a gunslinging, very loose cowboy who, you know, he gambles, he drinks, he shoots. That's what he does. He's a shark, basically. And then you have, you know, the difference here, even though they have their vests, they have their ties. I mean, yeah, you know, they've got their weapons, but he has a jacket on more often than he doesn't, and he's got a bowler hat, whereas, of course, Maverick doesn't. And so it's these slight differences that let you know they're not the exact same type of and quote unquote gentleman, right?
Yeah. I love the costume for Mel in that. You know, he's always got a really flash waistcoat on, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. I love it. Here, the way you can really tell the difference, like, they're clearly all still together. They're all dressed in black. They're walking together. There's a slight gap here, but it's nothing to the point where you would think that he's not meant to be there or that they think less of him. But you can tell that where these three are sort of a little bit more walk the line, lawful, care about certain aspects of the law. This man does not care. Like, his jacket is open. It's not a suit jacket. It is like it's a trench coat, basically. You know, he's got his, like, you can't see their weapons. You can see his weapons. So, like, the subtlety and differences here is just enough that you know that this man is something other than a lawman, right? Here, you don't really get that same, like, he looks more chaotic than he does purposeful. Whereas Val Kilmer, like, even the looks on their faces is you compare to. So see what I mean? Like, we're like it's damn near 30 years later, and I'm making comparisons to the show. So I think it was inevitable for Wyatt Earp to get compared to Tombstone and fall short.
In that shot, which is that's just as they start their walk out. One of the reasons that they set a bit of distance between Kilmer and Sam Neill is because as they come around the corner into the corral, Kilmer does that really cool move where he brings up the shotgun and kicks off his jacket with the shoulders.
Yep.
So you want him to have a bit of space. He's actually the first one to draw his gun.
Yep.
So he's got to have that. You don't want him to bring his elbow up and whack Sam Elliott in the face. Although Sam Elliott's naturally robust moustache, of course, would deflect any attack from anyone. But,
from all.
Yeah, I just love that scene, man.
Yeah,
the music in it as well.
Oh yeah, but this just seems because like he's clearly like his jacket is he can't just throw it off of his shoulders. He's clearly not going to pull up a shotgun. He's got his hand on his revolver, but they all they all do. He has his cane out, but like I said, I think it really came down to the direct comparison, and Tombstone just ended up winning. Now, was that a virtue of the fact that it came out a year earlier, or was it based solely off the writing? Honestly, we'd have to have someone watch Wyatt Earp first, and then so we'd have to find someone who's seen neither movie.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there, believe me.
Oh, I know. And then we'd have to have them watch Wyatt Earp first, and then Tombstone, and then give their honest opinion on it. But again, I think the reason that Maverick was able to sort of avoid that is because it is a different story, and it sets itself apart in different ways.
Well, tonally, it's completely different.
Absolutely.
I mean, like you said, it's one of your favorite comedy westerns. I'd say it probably is my favorite comedy western. I actually like Maverick. This might be sacrilege to say this, but I like Maverick better than I like Blazing Saddles.
I do too. Maverick's my favorite.
Because Blazing Saddles is great, but some of the jokes in it have not stood the test of time. There's some bits of it that are brilliant, especially the big fight that spills out into the studio and just goes through all the other sets, and it's just amazing. But there's some other stuff that just isn't as funny as it might have been back in the day. But Maverick, now you watch it and all the jokes still hit really well.
Yeah.
To me, that's a sign of a great movie when it can be as funny when you watched it, 10, 20 years ago as it is today. That's always a good thing.
I agree. And I think, by virtue of that, like this movie relied more on, like that witty kind of humor. It was because when you watch Blazing Saddles, it's definitely not like Blazing Saddles is not slapstick at all. Well, I guess that could be argued, but
there's a couple of bits that are, but overall, it's not.
Overall, it's not slapstick.
Well, it's a parody, isn't it? It's a parody, really.
And so, I think where that it laid heavily on the parody lines, and it like you had to know what they were referencing in order to get the comedy in Blazing Saddles. Like if you didn't understand sort of the foundation of some of the parody jokes, you'd miss out on probably some of the best dialogue and some of the best like interactions. Whereas with Maverick, outside of the Lethal Weapon sort of parody moment, there wasn't a whole lot of leaning on other inferences for the comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would make that push. I could be wrong. I'm just, apparently little 19 or 20-year-old kiddo.
I think you're right. I mean, it's Dan Blackroyd, no doubt a relative of Dan Aykroyd's, has just made the point in the chat that it almost fits as a continuation. What you can say is it completely can exist in the world of the TV show. It's implied that young Maverick might be a younger Maverick, and it's kind of implied that James Garner's character might still be the original Maverick, and there's some subterfuge going on. So it's very clever in that regard, and the Shaft movie, he said, did the same thing, and I liked it. It's not, the funny thing with the Maverick as well is it's not really an action western. There's not a lot of that. There's some action, but there's not there's not like spectacle action. There's not like big choreographed gunfights. There's not big epic stuff. There's some little stuff, but
it's very like here where he has his revolver drawn. You've got, of course, this scene. Like there's very deliberate moments of action, but honestly, like Richard Donner, if you look at his like he's very much. He is basically the antithesis to Michael Bay.
Oh yeah, I like it when you can follow action though. I like that.
Yes, I do too. And so I think like where Richard Donner was for the most part. Now, of course, there were a few exceptions, but for the most part, Richard Donner, he used action to either transition scenes or, transition like the feel of the film, or it was very deliberate to get it was very specific because he needed this action to happen so that it would motivate this other action from either the hero or from either the antagonist or the protagonist to occur, right? Or maybe both. So he was very deliberate in his use of action. And this film is no exception whatsoever. God, Mel Gibson. My heart still, I just melt. Even today, that man, I tell you what.
Well, I mean, don't anger him. He might phone you up and do a drunken rant. But mind you can always record it. Not that that's ever happened, of course. But
I'm not worried about it. I've heard what he said was tame to some stuff that I have heard. I'm not even kidding.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, I don't really care what goes on in people's personal lives because it's none of my business. As long as they make good films and
as long as everybody involved is consenting and of consensual age, I don't care.
That took that a direction I wasn't anticipating, but okay.
Well, here's the thing. If you, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to get canceled. But if a Korean and a black person are cracking jokes at each other, they don't need someone else and they're laughing and they're having a good time. They don't need a third party to come in and moderate the situation. Like just
No. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right?
I don't think that's a controversial thing to say.
No, but unfortunately, we now live in a world where if that were to happen, someone would have to swoop in and speak for the oppressed voices or something. I don't know. The world we live in is absolutely ridiculous now. See, Maverick, Top Gun is popping in.
Yeah, of course it is. Talking of Richard Donner directing action, so I'm gonna just say two of his best action scenes, in my opinion, that were directed and choreographed and put together, and just great sequences. One is the helicopter attack at the funeral in the first Lethal Weapon film. Remember that?
Yes.
Isn't that so good?
Yeah.
They're talking with that guy. It's the actor that John Carpenter uses in all of his movies, and he's just about to take a drink and doesn't I haven't watched Lethal Weapon 1 in forever, but doesn't a bullet come through the glass?
Yes.
Shatters the drink, goes into his chest, and then you pull focus, you see the helicopter, and you've got the rifleman there, and Gibson goes running out onto the lawn and he's firing the pistol as the helicopter goes. That was a great,
yes,
that's a really beautifully choreographed scene. And the other, I really like the action scenes in Lady Hawk as well. They're they're really good. He does really clever. You said he uses action to tell the story, and that's what got me thinking about this. That scene with the trapdoor where the knights are coming into Leo McKern's castle, the old healer guy. And they're trying to get, one of them pokes the sword up. Matthew Broderick jumps back. He knocks Michelle Pfeiffer off the side of the castle. And that's the scene, of course, where the sun's coming up, and which leads to the transition of her into the Hawk. And it's just a really well choreographed scene with all these different things happening. And, I really like the score for that film too. And a lot of people didn't like it, but I really like it. I got it on vinyl.
Well, I think, that is the thing, with Richard Donner, even watch Superman, watch Richard Donner's Superman. It's he does not use, so nowadays action films, I mean, I think probably the best example of this would be modern James Bond. The action films, they do shaky cam to cover up, I
can't stand it.
I know. I hate shaky cam, needs to die. I have been a proponent of shaky cam dying for years. Because here's the thing, I know it's possible to have excellent, poignant, plot-driving action scenes because Richard Donner did it all the time. Steve Barron, who worked on Superman with Richard Donner and I think a few other projects, who directed the 1990 TMNT live action film, the best one, the only one worth mentioning, even though, yes, we did get the...
Oh, you mean Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one?
The first one.
Not the one with Go Ninja, Go Ninja,
no,
go,
not the ninja
go
rap.
Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. Yeah, okay.
That's all anybody ever remembers from
By the way,
TMNT
that's coming out as a vinyl single from me if you want to get that in your record stores.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I agree with you. It's like shaky cam and lens flares both need to die.
I fucking hate lens flare. Who decided that was okay?
A very, very quick, like, even if it's painless, I'm fine with it. Just get it gone. Make them go away, because all they are is to cover mistakes by the actors, by the actresses, by the set design folks, by the camera people themselves. Shaky cam and lens flares are horrific.
Yeah,
talented people who know what they're doing to actually film you good action scenes. And the thing is, everybody wants to give Michael Bay crap for his action scenes because he's gratuitous with the explosions and the American flags and the running. Two things, and yes, later on he did get into lens flares, but two things about Michael Bay films. One, the action actually had something to do with the action movie. It wasn't just there for the sake of being there until later.
Yeah, most of the time, Transformers, but yeah.
Yeah, like later on, it just became gratuitous action for the sake of action. But if you watch the earlier stuff, I mean, especially Transformers 1, like, it had to be high-paced because you're literally dealing with an alien race that can transform into any mechanical device, specifically cars.
I quite like the first Transformers movie. The first one was all right, you know, nicely done scenes. And the second one was fucking awful. It really was. You had that massive vacuum cleaner transformer thing at the end. And
I think it's because the first one did so well, and they just kind of let Michael Bay. It's what happened with George Lucas in the prequels. When you just let them go and you don't reel them in or get someone to like bring them back down to earth, it doesn't always work out the best. For sure.
Lance Riplinger. By the way, Lance Riplinger, that's a great name. I might have to change my surname to Riplinger just because I quite like the way it fits with Lance. How many lens flares can I cram into a scene?
That is definitely.
There's a lot of lens flare in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie.
Yep, that's what he was saying.
The thing is, they made what I found really annoying about those films, and we really are jumping around, but I'm sure people don't mind. Was what's great about the original Star Trek stuff is the space battles. They feel naval. Yes. You know, you've got your ship kind of moves here, and your other ship's moving around to get a better shot, and it's quite slow and quite deliberate, like an old school naval battle. And I like that because we've got Star Wars for the Top Gun space stuff. Yeah. You know, the everyone's flying around. And then we went to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, and we're in Star Wars territory. There's like 5,000 ships, and they're all buzzing around at 900 mile an hour, and they chuck so much stuff into a shot, it just starts to get boring. A space battle with 6 ships is much more exciting than a space battle with 60 ships.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. That was the whole thing that was wrong with the big battle at the end of the last Star Wars trilogy for me. It's always the same.
Lens flares.
Yeah, it's always bigger spaceships. It's like what are we going to do for the villain? It's like when they started adding another villain for the Batman films. That's when it went. One villain is absolutely fine. You don't need 2 or 3 villains.
Yeah.
But that's a producers meeting. That's 8 producers sitting around a table saying, what can we do? What can we add to the... Oh, I know. We'll give them a bigger spaceship or we'll add 3 more villains. No, fuck that. 1 villain, plenty of screen time, lots of character development and arc. Take your time. We don't need...
Yeah, and I don't even mind if you have like a henchman villain who is not the actual... he's the villain you see through the whole thing. Kind of like,
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan and Fifth Element, they both had that.
So like in Fifth Element, you know, we had Gary Oldman with the Skrillex haircut, my God. But like he was the villain we saw, but we knew that there was something else out there. And so you had to destroy the bigger villain at the end that, you know, but nothing was taken away. It's not, it wasn't like you had to cut between 6 different villains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It worked.
Forgive me for eating grapes, by the way. I haven't eaten much all day, so I'm scoffing some grapes during the stream. For all you kids doing streams at home, this is not recommended.
This is how you choke on your food. Can I also just say, like, I do really love, like, I know I've said it.
Are you going to say you love Jodie Foster in this movie again? Because you're allowed to say that if you want. I
do love her in this movie, and I also love her wardrobe. Like,
I mean, I want that umbrella, and I'm a guy, but I want that umbrella.
Like,
you know?
It's so interesting to me that, like, how, like, again, just the authenticity of this film, it can't be understated. And I really do. I love. Hold on.
That must have been hot for Ghana though, with that tie.
Oh, I no doubt he was hot. No, like look at that. I love that. Also, her blue dress.
Yeah,
like,
I remember
wear
that.
I love.
Lady with the fan.
Mm-hmm. I love her wardrobe through this whole thing. Like, it's like classy and elegant, but just enough to be like dancing into the scandalous. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it's like tastefully done. It's not like today where you've got bimbos sticking their boobs out and.
No, it's I'm just looking at westerns that were released in the 90s because we said how many good ones were there, and actually there's quite a few that I forgot about, that some of which I saw later. One that I bet you saw was Geronimo, an American Legend, directed by Walter Hill, which was like the last sort of year of Geronimo's life. Now that was a cracking film. Robert Duvall, Gene Hackman again, of course.
Like I said, I think I've said this before. There is probably, I can't think of a Gene Hackman film that I don't like.
Well, I mean, another one that I've got to mention, which was in my top 10 Western stream that I did. You so should have been on that. In fact, I think I invited you, but your timing. But
I know my life.
The Quick and the Dead, Sharon Stone, a young Leonardo DiCaprio, Lance Hendrickson, Gene Hackman as the villain, young Russell Crowe as the hero. What a cracking film.
Russell Crowe has sort of soured on me over the years.
Yeah, but he's good in that movie, though.
He is good in that movie.
I mean, the South Park episode about Russell Crowe and his singing and all that with the tugboat, that perfectly sums up his lazy years. But I really liked that movie, and no one knew who he was when that came out. It was 94.
Mm-hmm.
It was there was, of course, you had Unforgiven in 92, which is just phenomenal. I watched that again not that long ago.
Unforgiven is fantastic.
It's ageless. There's nothing about that film that looks,
I think
any way less superior than it did when I first watched it.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, I think Wyatt Earp is a better film than I had initially thought. Like you, it's better than I had initially thought, but that's in like a hindsight type of thing.
Well, you've got distance, and as you said earlier, you're not comparing it to Tombstone, so it's Lightning Jack was the other comedy that came out around the same time as Maverick with Paul Hogan of the Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, was not my favorite.
I've got a vague recollection that was pants. I saw it once and never wanted to watch it again.
Yeah, that wasn't my. I thought Quigley was. Isn't that an 80s?
Quigley Down Under, guys, is an amazing film. Oh, look at that! Yeah. It's by my rippling relative.
Yeah,
another Lance, obviously a fantastic name. So he must be an amazing guy.
It was 90. Okay, I thought it was 89. You know what? I think it was supposed to come out in 89 and it got delayed to 90. I think that's what happened.
I think it might have been released in Australia in 89.
Okay.
And it had Alan Rickman as the bad guy.
Yes.
Tom Selleck as the lead. It's got a fantastic score. The music on it, I can even hear the tune in my head right now.
I still don't understand why we don't have a War of Mustaches movie between Tom Selleck.
We should do a War of Mustaches stream. We could do like top 10 amazing tashes. I mean, that might come across as a bit gay. I feel we should have a gay co-host if we're going to do that, but
maybe. Well, because I mean,
maybe.
I'm just saying, like, we're gonna be perfectly honest here. But Sam Elliott and Tom Selleck have to be like top. Like, I don't know who would win, and I don't understand why we don't have a movie about their mustaches, like the two of them in it, and it's just solely about their mustaches.
Well, for those people watching, I don't know if you're aware, but Sam Elliott's mustache has its own Twitter account. And you think I'm joking?
No, I don't. That's fantastic.
I'm actually. Hang on, let me see, because I think I can share screens with you, right? I can do that as well as being on. Let me try and do that for a sec. So, yeah, there we go.
Swanson officiates.
Because
is definitely an honorable mention.
Because here, let me try doing this for the first time on someone else's stream. I've got so many windows open here; it could all go horribly wrong. But just close me. If for some reason I jump off the stream, just I'll come back in. So here we go. Share screen, window. Which one do I want? There it is. Right. So, yeah, I've shared it, but I think there you go. So look, that's Sam Elliott's Moustache Twitter account. Yes. I don't know what it says follow on that.
Your messages just popped up. You're going to want to close those.
Where? Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I do want to close those, don't I? Look, there's my drinkers. I'm one of the moderator in Critical Drinkers Forum there. Yeah. I don't know why it says follow, because I was following this ages ago because I get all the tweets. So I'm going to click follow again. Maybe they restarted the account actually because it looks new, because the old account had
it says that they've only got 895 following. But 9, so who knows?
Something must have happened, because this had a massive, unless this is another one.
Possibly.
But anyway, it's got its own account and it tweets fairly regularly. So I think on that basis, because it's also its own separate life entity, which, as we know, must be scientifically true. Yep. I think he's probably going to win. I'll stop sharing that now.
He is.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Somebody, I did a post about Sam Elliott because he is my favorite all-time cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the actual account. That wasn't it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another one. So that's the fake Sam Elliott's moustache account.
Dun, dun, dun.
He's got two. Only Sam Elliott's moustache could have two accounts.
Of course. And get a following. Like,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Much bigger following. And he follows me as well. So
that's amazing. Dude, like, look, this is the face of a woman having fun.
Oh, yeah. For
sure. So I guess I will ask you first, what would you rate, since we have been going for about hour 45, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Hey, we stayed relatively on target today. We at least stuck within Westerns.
Yeah, apart from the segue at the beginning. Well, but yeah, it's all good. I think as long as people are entertained and enjoyed my multitasking of eating grapes and dropping them on the floor whilst doing a stream.
And we did spend a majority of the stream talking about the fantastic show that is Maverick. If y'all have not watched Maverick, I know you can still buy it on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I don't know about VHS, but
you know what? I haven't got a Blu-ray of it, and I think I might get it on Bluray because Westerns just look great on Blu-ray.
They really do, because you know why? Because nothing's fake.
No. I mean, unless they're black and white, scaled up black and white doesn't particularly look much better than DVD black and white. But the colors is what makes Blu-ray pop. Mm-hmm. You're going to ask me what I would give it on IMDb?
Yes.
Well, I guess for me it's like a novelty Western, like Silverado. I'll watch at least once a year, every year without fail, which is good because if I need a wee and going to make a cup of tea, I don't have to worry about pausing it unless it's my particular favorite scene of the 50 of my favorite scenes in the film. But Maverick, I think I've only seen it 3 times. I rented it when it was released on VHS, I think it must have been. And then I watched it again recently, about 2-3 years ago, with my then partner who'd never seen it. And I said, "You'll like this. It's a lot of fun." And they did.
That's awesome.
Now what I need to do is kind of sit down and watch it again and focus. I'm going to say probably a comfortable 8, 7.5 to 8.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being mean. I maybe might go half a point higher on that. I need to rewatch it again and now kind of look at it from a critic's point of view. I don't think I've really sat down and watched. I've always kind of just, oh yeah, cool, James Garner, love it. But it's a lot of fun and it's rewatchable.
Yes, it's very rewatchable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I try to be as unbiased on these streams as I possibly can. But as you all know, the only things I share on my Nostalgic Nirvana streams are things that I have actually watched myself and that I enjoy. Because the point of these streams is to, give you alternative entertainment options, to let you know that there are amazing shows out there for you to enjoy. There's amazing entertainment out there for you to go discover or rediscover. And so that's the whole point of these Nostalgic Nirvana streams. So I'm going to have to give Maverick, between the casting, the chemistry, the writing, the rewatchability, the action, and of course, I'm just a huge Mel Gibson and Richard Donner fan, and I love Jodie Foster and her wardrobe and this whole thing, and you get James Garner on top of it. Yeah, it's a solid 9 for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I might rewatch it again, and I might go that high, but I think
if you don't, it's completely fine. But
definitely a comfortable 8. I heard you were going to come after me with a Bowie knife if I didn't agree on the 9.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it's a comfortable 8 for me. I've got a thing. I think we've only done 1 or 2 of them on my channel called it's called Undiscovered Something and Hidden Gems. I can't remember what the undiscovered something is. That's why it remains undiscovered. But it's the same thing as this. It's like me picking an old film that I don't think people will have seen, and I've got about 6 of them that I want to try and do before I go away, which is quite ambitious because I'm going to the States on the 22nd of July.
Get to work.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to do Black Hawk Down, which most people have seen, to be honest. But I want to do Last Starfighter, Sword and the Sorcerer, which, by the way, I've got the vinyl soundtrack for here. I can't remember if I showed you that last time, but here it is.
Yeah,
it's great copy as well. Yeah, I want to do those 2. I want to do The Long Good Friday, which is the best British gangster film ever seen, which launched the career of Bob Hoskins.
The Long Good Friday. I've not heard of that one.
Oh, you've not heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable. I mean, we could stick the trailer on now, but I don't want to get your stream blocked or whatever. But Long Good Friday, I'll give a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
And it's just a really good movie. It's about a top London gangster, and suddenly everybody's killing everyone on this firm, and you don't know why.
Huh.
It's got this massive long opening sequence, which has got no dialogue, just music. And it shows you all these different things that happen, but you don't quite understand what you're seeing or how they fit. And all of that gradually comes into focus as different bits of the story come through.
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, Dan Blackroyd just pointed out it's got a cameo of a very young Pierce Brosnan.
Woo!
Or Pierce Brisbane even. That's Pierce Brosnan's brother, but Pierce Brosnan is also in it.
Gattaca? I've not heard of that.
Gattaca.
Gattaca.
That's with Ethan Hawke.
I've not. Nope, not.
That's not a bad little film.
See, this is part of the reason I love these streams, because I get to learn about so many different things.
You've got to watch The Long Good Friday, and I'm going to do one on the Wild Geese. Have you seen The Wild Geese?
Yes, I have.
Because I recommended that to you. Do you remember?
Yes, you did.
Was I right? What do you think?
You were right. You were right.
You start hurting when the characters die in that film, right?
Yes, you do. Yes.
The whole ending with the plane and the guy trying to get on the plane, and you're like, oh my God, get on the plane, get on the plane.
Yeah, you're just like, it's been a long time since a movie has made me scream at the television.
Oh, I'm glad you watched that. That's such a good, I mean, it's, the scenes with the party and the kid going Yahoo are very dated, but once you get to Africa, it's just such a good movie.
It really is.
Really good script, and
it just goes like it's the pacing. It just it clips.
The action's really well directed.
Yes.
Very simple action, but really well directed.
Again, action that it helps propel the story forward. It's not just there for the sake of having action.
Yeah, and any of the guys watching, that full film, The Wild Geese, is on YouTube. There's a pretty decent resolution. Don't know if it's 1080p, but it's on there. It's on there.
980, but it's still really good.
Yeah, it's laptop. You know, you'd be all right, or a small TV.
For anybody that does want to watch Maverick and you're not sure where to get it or how to get it, you can rent it here on YouTube. And
how much is that? What's the damage on that? $2? Is that $2?
$2.99 usually.
Yeah, well, that's worth it.
It definitely is worth it, and hopefully it'll have you invest in something in maybe just getting the physical copy of it too if you like it enough. But before we go, really quick, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed: Michael, Tutorial Slave, Apollo 536, Deuce Vault, Knight of Solari, Royal Credo 1, Joshua 66 Stang, Brundle Fly, and Kiss and Kid Cassidy have all subscribed. Thank you so much. Cybot sent a $5 donation 5.5 days ago. It says, "Sup, Lady G. I hope you have a good July 4th. I may be in a different country, but patriots recognize their own. Blessing to you and the gang." Wow, thank you, Cybot. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you.
Well, I like to consider myself part of that gang now. So that's
there you go.
It's my second stream now. When it's free, it's, you know,
with many more to come.
Oh, God.
Raj Williams for 5 Canadian. Thank you, Raj. Says, "I used to watch the TV series. I'm old and thought that this was a good movie as well. Looking forward to the discussion, Lady G." Well, thank you, Raj. I hope it has met your standards. I hope we did not subvert any expectations. I hope we exceeded them.
I'm sure we rambled it to the level that you were expecting.
I appreciate you so much, Raj. Thank you. Cal G for $3. Thank you, Cal G. Says, "I'm sounding like a broken record now." Oh, you're fine. Says, "First time seeing this movie." Woo! Actually, Cal G, I'm so excited. Like, again, that's the point of these streams. Like, to get you guys to experience and discover or rediscover great entertainment and have a good time. That is literally the whole entire point of this of this stream's existence, of this series' existence. So I love getting to hear you say that this is the first time you have seen this particular film. That makes my heart happy because it means that it's working. Like I always said, if just one person discovers something new that they enjoy, I have done my job. So thank you for letting me know that I've done what I've set out to do. Then he says, "I think these streams allow me to see films that I would have otherwise given a pass." Amen. Also, to anyone who says Mel Gibson isn't a good actor, they can kiss the ashiest parts of my kneecaps. Yes, Mel Gibson's a phenomenal actor. Who the heck says what? Lies and Deceit? It is he's a phenomenal actor.
No, he's very good. I haven't seen Passion of the Christ, but
yes, and you've explained why you don't.
I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah, I love that film. I can only watch it once a year because it's just such a heavy film.
Damn, you watch it once a year? Oh,
yeah,
my. Maybe we need to do a watching stream. Lance gets put through Passion of the Christ. I have seen the South Park version of it, and I feel that conveyed the contents of it to me.
Oh yeah, you thought they nailed it pretty good.
Well, I got a sense of what's happening in the film, which I feel was probably all I needed.
Well, hey, that's fair. Lance, do you have anything that you want to share before we
Sure.
head out?
I've always got loads of stuff going on, but I don't want to rattle on too long.
Hey, you're
we won't have any. I don't think we'll have any British people in here because I'm directing a play on the stage in London in November, the first week of November, and it's going to be in Birmingham in October, and that's about the biggest miscarriage of justice in British history, which is the post office scandal, and the place called False Accounts. We might do an online version of it.
Okay.
the other thing I suppose I should mention is I don't know if people can see my Gina Carano
Yeah.
hoodie. See the 9 line apparel there?
Yes,
So
yes.
look, I'm doing some like subtle advertising for them whenever I'm
There you go.
on, because these guys were great, right? Because I really wanted one of these hoodies because they were limited edition from good old Jay Junk 3PO. Gotta love him.
Yes, absolutely.
I like supporting his channel, and it's particularly good if I get a garment out of it. So I ordered one of these hoodies, and it took quite a long time to get here, and they said it had arrived, and I was in all day. I mean, the window to my drive is right there, so I can see anybody coming to deliver anything. They said they delivered it, and they never came. So whoever said they delivered it ran off with it. And I contacted 99 Apparel, and I'd already had stuff off them before. I've ordered 3 of these because there's two of the other outcasts have got these hats, and hoodies and t-shirts and things. And they, after a bit of back and forth, they sent me another one, and it arrived. It arrived yesterday, so I was very very pleased about that.
That's amazing,
and it was really nice from them. So we're doing we've got plans to do this online play. If you go on our channel when we were in lockdown, before we kind of really knew what we were doing with our channel, that sounds like I know what I'm doing with it now. But before we kind of started evolving into kind of advice about the industry and sort of doing interviews with people that have worked in the film and television industry and theatre industry, and I interviewed a young screenwriter tonight, for example. We were doing scripts of mine online, and there were some of them that I thought would work as a radio play. So if they work as a radio play, that basically means you can perform them live on YouTube. So with the wonders of Zoom, that's what we did, and we did a script about the shootings in Kent State, which I'm sure you'll know about that. And because there was a very famous court case that followed that, which most people don't know about, you know. And then if you don't mind me sharing something, so one of the other shows that we plan on doing just online, it's not going to be on the stage, is this one. So there you go.
Hollywood studio, not so very far away. The Tweet Wars. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So the play is called The Tweet. And it's in a Hollywood studio, so not very far away. The fate of a rising actress is being decided. So this completely fictional story is about an actress called Nina Serrano, and she's in this television franchise called Galaxy Wars. And then she does a tweet online, which is considered to be controversial. And she gets called in by the Meow Studios, the studio of the big cat, as it's called in the play. And and it is basically, at first she's suspended from her job, and then eventually she's fired. And then there's this whole push to cancel her career. And it's basically, that's the play. And I've already written probably about 50% of it, but then the post office play, which is the one we're doing on stage, public inquiry for that's going on right now, and the theatre wanted it now, so I had to switch gears, and I had to kind of stop work on the tweet and jump on the post office play, but the tweet is going to happen. I think we're going to do it live online. We're going to live stream it on YouTube, so we'll be performing it live. If any of the actors fuck up, there's nothing they can do about it. So like if somebody's internet goes down, there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to jump off, or we have to carry on performing, and the people in the scene will have to just carry on performing. But all the actors will wear costume. They'll have green screens behind them, so they'll have sets. So if there's 2 people in a scene, like if you and me were in a scene, we would have a matching set. And so that, that's basically what we're up to. And I think some of your guys and girls who are watching the show now will probably really enjoy that play. And we're going to take it pretty close to the bone. Not that it's based on anything that really happened. Of course, all of the characters are completely fictional in our piece. But look, I'm a quite liberal guy, and I have quite liberal views, and I'm sure I have a lot of friends in the States who are completely on a different side of the political spectrum to me. And you know, in an election, we probably wouldn't vote the same way. But these are friends of mine who are really good people. They're really good human beings, and I care about them dearly. And we've never allowed opposing political views to come between us. Now, look, if they're going to put on a white sheet and start burning crosses, that would probably change. I'm not talking about that. And you know, one of my real peeves about what's going on at the minute is I don't think that people should be cancelled because they have an opposing view to you, or because they support a political party that's not the one that you support, or they want to have a discussion about something that you don't want to discuss, that you feel is controversial. Stopping all of those things from happening, there's a word for that, and it's called fascism. So you might think you're being really liberal and you're being really left and you're supporting everything and whatever. But if you start shutting down people and start cancelling people because of a tweet, when actually you don't even know what really happened and you just listen to a mob, and actually that's not really the factual account of what, that's censorship. It's not good. And I have very strong views about that. And that's the same as burning books, and you know, it's just not a cool thing. So that's what inspired me to start writing that piece. And when we've got a full script of it, the cast are all going to sign it, and we're going to send a copy of it to a certain PO box in Florida that may or may not be connected to Drunk 3PO's box. And I tried to get that done. Actually, I tried to get that done before the conventions that were happening recently, but then the post office thing came and I started rushing the scripts, and I thought, no, I don't want to send a rushed version of this. It has to be, you know, my usual standard. It's got to be good. So I need to take my time with it, everything. So yeah, and I mean, somebody just said, you know, how we learn and how we grow is when we talk and when we communicate and we discuss. Yeah, so absolutely, I agree. So yeah, I don't want to get political on you, but that's
it's fine. I'm excited. I'm excited to see both. I don't know that I'll be able to come to the UK and watch the post office one.
I think we're gonna do an online version of that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it as far as we can in the theatre in the UK live, and then you know, when no one else wants it, then we'll figure out a version that we can do online. There's a lot of very theatrical things in it. There's a lot of Star Wars jokes in it, because the post office, the bad guys are like the Empire, and the good guys, the sub postmasters, are like the Rebellion. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's like a dark satire, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what I'm up to, guys. Apart from all the usual books and other things of mine and plays and sci-fi novels that you can find on Amazon, just go and have a look at my website. Which can I put that in the chat? Is that right?
Of course, yeah. Go right ahead.
You know, I'm not very good at selling myself. You know, I should really do these things more often.
Oh no, I think you did a fine job. I'm looking forward to both those plays. I'm looking forward to both of those plays, and or at least getting to see what I can of them. And
yeah, so that's the website for my book series, and there's a whole load of more info about me on there. And failing that, you can just put Lance Nielsen into Wikipedia, and a page will come up that's about this long. So
hey, there you go. Did you share it? I don't see it.
I put it in the chat. Is that? I just put the link in the chat. diamondsintheskybookseries.com. See that in the chat?
Huh? No, it's hiding from me because I think you're not a wrench, and it's not going to let you. Hold on.
Oh,
I got you.
Okay. I guess you want to make me a wrench?
Well, because I can't see you in the chitty chat right now.
Oh,
but
well,
that's
hang on.
okay.
If I just I just say hi. There we go. If I just do that.
Diamonds in the sky.
Yeah, I don't, because I'm very good. I'm very well behaved on other people's streams. I don't drop like links into the chat unless I'm told to do so.
There you go.
Well, that
should So there's your.
I do that. Is that? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the book is on Amazon. But if you want to find out more about the actual series and what it's about, you can read all about it and the characters that are in it. Oh, I'm now a moderator. I feel very honoured.
There you go.
I'll be able to kick out the Ginger Menace for you. So yeah. So what about you? What's the next stream? What's happening?
Oh my word. Okay. So actually I'm not gonna announce anything right now, but Lethal Lightning and I do a Sailor Moon stream once a month. And we are on the final volume of Sailor Moon for the manga series. And we have a special guest who will be joining us for our final Sailor Moon manga stream. And I am doing backflips with how excited I am. It's just absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. When we nail down the date and we iron out some details, I will let you guys know. But Lethal and I are both over the moon excited about who our guest is going to be. And outside of that, I've got like 8 Lord of the Rings videos, 6 trop videos. I still have Wheel of Time videos and my Batman review video.
Damn.
That's what I made the joke earlier about. I just need to quit my day job because it's getting in the way of stuff I actually care about. Because I don't really care about budget inferences and
I kept meaning to ask you if you served overseas.
I do not have any combat deployments under my belt. No.
Okay. Well, no,
unfortunately, myself and several Marines that are sort of the same era as me, you kind of did hit or miss. And so we don't like to talk about the fact that doesn't mean you don't get shot at. It just means that you never got
I got you.
Combat. You don't have a combat deployment under your belt. And most of us see that as a form of shame.
Well, listen,
you don't join if you don't join the Marine Corps to not go to war. I'll put it that way.
No, I mean, but I've got a lot of friends in the army. Some of them are in special forces, and it's a soldier's mantra that you're training for a job that you might never do.
Yep.
There's part of you that doesn't actually want to do it, but that's what you've been trained for. So there's a bigger part of you that actually, every soldier hopes that they'll go into combat, but I think everyone hopes they'll go into combat for a short time and come out again in one piece, preferably not a long extended war that drags on for an unnecessary period of time and ends up being a complete clusterfuck when we pull out and make a total mess of it, But I've got there's a million film scripts to be made about ex-servicemen and some current servicemen going back into Afghanistan now.
Yep.
To do their own missions to rescue people that are still left behind, people that are being tortured. There are people going back in to do little projects still to try and keep the country going. There's so many of these going on right now, and it just to the degrees that you wouldn't think were possible with the Taliban in charge. But and it's I mean, that's a mini series waiting to happen that could be 60 episodes, But
yeah, no, it's gonna be a full series. It's just I can't bring that up because
difficult one.
It's it's hard for a lot of reasons, but I think probably the biggest problem with it for me is I know how jacked up a lot of my buddies are, and I have officially lost more brothers and sisters in CONUS than on deployment, in war zones, that I personally, I mean, of course, if you don't personally know them, you still feel that loss. But when you were a PFC or a Lance and it's your sergeant or it's your staff sergeant and they had to go into Afghanistan or Iraq or Iran and they come back and then they lose the war here, the one that's going on in their head. That's something that doesn't get talked about near enough. and it always gets chalked up to, there's like, oh, well, it's PTSD. You know, they've had it since Nam. They've had it since we're like, you know, they called it these different things, but you know, it's always been there. But
I've just been diagnosed with that, by the way.
Yeah.
So fun fact, and it's like a label I don't even, because I've never served in the military. It's not for that reason. It's because I was assaulted and anyway. But
yeah,
and it's a label I feel like I don't deserve, because I associate it with the military. I don't associate it with getting beaten up.
Yeah,
or attacked or whatever.
It has to do with trauma. There's another one. It's called MST. That a lot of females got diagnosed with, because it's just like males get diagnosed with it too. But basically, what PTSD is, it's kind of like fibromyalgia, where they know something's wrong with you, but they don't know exactly what, and there is not a fix-all. There's no one way to correct it. There's no one way to treat it.
Yeah, no, I've had therapy for a couple of years. I'm super jumpy all the time. I'm like do that.
Well, and the thing too is, like, here in America, what that does to a lot of vets is it disqualifies them from, like, these are men and women who have gone overseas, and most of them, like a lot of them, have nearly died for their country, and now they're being told that they don't have their 2A rights because of the PTSD.
So what? Sorry, explain that to me as a layman. What 2A rights is what? What does that
Second
mean?
Amendment gun rights.
Oh, so they can't. They're not allowed to.
They're not allowed to have a weapon. Yeah, they're not allowed to have a firearm. So a lot of vets don't, because of. Man, it's not really.
I mean, that's a tricky.
It's.
I don't want to get into the whole gun crime topic.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, like I said,
right
I don't like to touch. Like on these streams, I don't like to talk about that stuff. But at some point, that conversation needs to be had, because you don't punish people like that who are actively seeking help, because it's going to prevent them from seeking help, and then the problem gets worse. Yeah, exactly. Proven. VA hospitals are.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget the scenes in Born on the 4th of July with the VA. I mean, obviously a different time, but I never.
Vietnam vets had it.
Poof. Yeah, those
Korean vets, same thing. Like, it's just, that's the thing. They never teach you really this kind of, when you find out what kind of person you are, because they never teach you how to live with yourself afterwards.
Right.
But like I said, I don't think people who have signed up for and been willing to give up their very lives for the country, or for God, for country, for Corps, like, that's a thing in the Marine Corps. But I don't think you should be punished for doing that and then having trauma because of it, and then seeking help for that trauma.
No, absolutely not.
But it's, feel the way you want about it, but that's like
it's also that's gonna stop people from addressing it, because then they're not gonna want to. They won't want those rights removed, so that they're therefore not going to seek help.
Yep, and then it's
so that's a very. I just had a fantastic idea. Let me run this by you before we end this thing. How about, why don't you put this to, I don't know who you would put this to, your base commander or whatever. How about when I come to the States, because I'm going to be in Dallas. So you're Dallas, right? So
I'm close by, yeah.
So how about I come to the base and run a creative script writing workshop? I'll do it for free. I mean, like, they can get me a lunch or something, but and I'll run it for the guys on the base. And I'll teach people a method of, right, if you want to go away and write your story, whether it's a book, a play, or a film, or whatever, or you just want to do some creative writing to use this as a method, because a lot of people use it as a cathartic thing. Right? You put stuff down on paper, you kind of purge it. Doesn't mean they're going to go and write books about the military or anything, but but I would be willing to come and do that as a way of giving back. Thank you for your service, Connor. I mean, I'm not an American, but it's the principle is the same.
Yeah.
And I'll be quite happy. Quite happy to come and do that for 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours.
Well, those usually have to get set up way ahead of time. But two, if I had that kind
we've got time because I'm not there till August. August Dallas. I'm August 22nd for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, if I had that kind of pull, trust me, I would. They would not. I seriously doubt that they would approve it because if Adam Driver,
I thought it was a nice idea.
As much as I dislike the Disney films, Adam Driver is actually a really great dude. He is a Marine vet himself. He's very down to earth. He's a really sweet guy. He pushed for the same thing, to have some sort of workshop, like creative workshop for vets, because it is very cathartic and it can help you. Like, art is expression, and it can help you work through a lot of your demons. That got rejected. I believe the basis was that there is not enough. You know what? No, I'm not even gonna go down that road. But if Adam Driver can't make that happen, I probably can't.
Well, I probably can't either because I'm not as high ranking as Adam Driver. But also he can use the Force, which I don't possess.
Maybe Gary Sinise can do something. There's a man who
maybe there's a veterans organization, so it doesn't have to go through the military echelons. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a way to do something while I'm there. Listen, it's an afternoon of my time while I'm in Dallas for 2 weeks. The majority of that time, by the way, I'm going to be on my friend's computer writing a novel. I'm not going to be going to theme parks and doing all that stuff because it's a bit of a budget holiday. So I can certainly spend an afternoon to come and do.
You're going to want to sit under a fan and in front of the AC vent. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that thing that the guy from Black Hawk Down talked about. You know, where he puts his balls in front of the. Anyway. You know the thing. I mean, it's on the special edition. But
it's hot. August and July are hot.
Well, I'm hoping my friend's got decent aircon. I
would like quadruple check that before you go, because otherwise you are in for a horrific stay.
Well, he's a board games designer and a historian. His company created half of these games here, all the ones with the red label here. GMT
label. I remember you showed me them last time. Yeah,
that's Mark Simonich's company, GMT.
Nice.
He's based in Dallas, and we got Battle for Normandy there, and Air Bridge, Paths of Glory. These are all World War I, World War II. There's a modern one, Twilight Struggle, Barbarossa to Berlin. They've done about 5 games on Battle of the Bulge. Nice. So I'm going to be staying with him, and probably the plan is to get a few games in as well, play some games. So you and your guy can come around and do one of those as well.
If I can find a babysitter, I most certainly shall.
And I will also have some afternoons free to do babysitting, and my rates are very reasonable. So.
Trust me.
I bet your kids will run all over me, right?
You should show up with your own chainmail. I'll put it that way.
Okay. No chinks in the armor.
No chinks in the armor.
All right.
But yes, that is awesome. Yeah, no, that was. But on a happy, good note, chat. You guys were amazing as always.
Thanks.
Give Maverick a watch. Like I said, you can rent it right here on YouTube. It's good stuff. And I
thank you so much. Also, I didn't say it. Thank you so much for having me on again. I love doing these. I love talking about movies, and I work in the industry, so I can kind of give that slightly different perspective on the production stuff. And
I don't work in the industry, nor have I ever. So.
No, but that's good. Because you're coming at it from the viewer. I mean, don't get me wrong. Before I was in the industry, I was like you. I devoured movies. I went to the cinema every week. I used to work in the cinema, you know, and the video shop. I did all the things that Quentin Tarantino did, except for make myself into a millionaire. And but I'm trying very hard.
Hey, you get one?
So no, I'm always happy to come on one of these. Anytime you're doing one, if you don't want to be talking to yourself for 2 hours and you think, maybe I can have that annoying English bloke on again, just drop me a message, and if I'm free, I'll jump on. And I'm, like I said, I'm a night guy, so even though it is now 4 minutes past 3,
I was gonna say it's like 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah, but this is normally around the time I go to bed.
All right.
So yeah, and I haven't got anything early. Oh look, and D-Day Direwolf, because I mentioned a D-Day board game, he suddenly felt inclined to give you $5.
Thank you, D-Day Direwolf, for the $5. Number one. I appreciate you guys. Seriously, chat, for your continued support, you guys showing up here, you know, Cal G, like the fact that you're watching these movies, some of them for the first time, it warms my heart. I really hope that you guys go enjoy this movie. It's a great time. And thank you so much for being here. I am truly humbled and honored to be able to do this with you and for you. It's fantastic, and I love you guys so, so much. So thank you for just being here and sticking it out and just being you, because this would be not as much fun if you were not all here, and also kind of pointless, but nonetheless, I genuinely love and appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I will keep your eye on the community section, because I do have some stuff that I'll be dropping for members, as well as other announcements for the channel itself.
Yeah, you need to teach me how to do all that stuff, all the member stuff, and for my channel, because we're creeping up to 1,000 subs, so I'm going to be monetized soon. And anybody watching, please subscribe to the Outcast Creative.
Yes, please go check them out.
We've got quite a lot of stuff on there, so there'll be some videos you'll like somewhere.
Maybe there's a little bit of something for everyone. So at Legionist, I would take you no other way. But thank you, everybody. God bless, Godspeed, and good night.